Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Joy, and today we are talking about whether you should use oil-based paint or urethane-based paint for your next cabinet or trim project. Let's get started. Right before we get started, I just wanted to say hello to you if you are brand new here. I'm Sarah Joy, and I make videos every single Tuesday taking you behind the scenes on projects that I'm doing around my home or coming on to give you tips for styling and designing your home like a pro, like today's video. If that sounds good to you, make sure that you hit subscribe so that you don't miss a video when they come out every single Tuesday. For all intents and purposes, we are just going to talk about Sherwin-Williams paint today because that is the one that I am most familiar with. But you should be able to find a comparable type of paint with most major paint suppliers. So let's talk about the two differences. Now, oil-based paint has been on the market for a very long time, and it is known for being the best option when you are painting furniture or cabinetry or trim or doors to last. This is something that is going to go through a lot more wear and tear than the average wall, for example. So you want it to be very, very durable. A little bit newer to the market is a urethane-based paint. This one is technically water soluble, so it is more of a water-based paint. Most of the water-based paints out there are latex paints, which do peel, and they're not the best when it comes to painting something that needs to be very durable over time. Since this one is a little bit different, it actually has more durability. So let's dive into the pros and cons of each type of paint. Let's start with oil-based paint. Just specs on the product, you'll see that Sherwin-Williams paint does run a bit high. So for a semi-gloss, high-quality oil-based paint, it's about $98 a gallon. So as far as the pros go with oil-based paint, is, like I said before, going to be very durable and have a great finish. So it is pretty dependable as far as that goes when it's applied correctly and you do enough coats and you do your proper sanding and priming and everything beforehand. It's going to be great. Now, even though I said it was $98 a gallon, this is technically still cheaper than what we'll get to with the urethane-based paint. So price is also another factor to be in the pro list. But now let's get to my list of cons for oil-based paint. Number one, it is atrocious to work with. You're gonna have to make sure to specify the type of brush that you're using and make sure that it's compatible with oil-based paint. Also, if you are using a sprayer for a very even finish, this can also clog really easily. And the thing about oil-based paint is it's hard to clean up. You're gonna have to have extra specific materials on hand to wash out your brushes and to clean up anything else that spills. So even if you're just working with a project and trying to, wipe up a little bit, or you're trying to clean out your spraying machine or clean out your brushes, you're gonna have to really go through a whole other process rather than just washing them out underneath the sink. Second of all, if you've ever worked with oil-based paint, the fumes are insane. They are so strong. So if you're doing anything, especially in an interior, and you can't do it outside where it can air dry for several days, then you're gonna be dealing with a ton of fumes inside your house. Especially if you're doing something like your entire kitchen or all of your doors and trim, your whole house will smell like this for a while. Now, kind of related, but not just relating to the smell, is the VOC level that is in oil-based paint. This is a volatile organic compound, and basically it is how fast that a paint can turn into a gas and be something that you breathe. And so it is harmful to your health, harmful to the environment, just a lot of bad things associated with it. So for a gallon of oil-based paint, it can have up to 380 VOCs in that gallon. The last thing that I'll say that has to do with the cons for oil-based paint is the amount of time that you need to let it dry between coats. It needs to cure a lot longer in between coats than a urethane-based paint. All in all, I would say this is still a great option and gives a great finish. But if you are a beginner with doing a project like this, it might be such an obstacle to get through for the difficulty level. There are definitely a lot of hoops and a lot of research that you have to do when going in and using oil-based paint on something. So again, it takes a lot of pre-work beforehand to really do your homework and know what you're doing. but at the end of the day, you'll probably still get a very, very durable finish. Now for contrast, let's talk about the Emerald Urethane Paint. So just specs on the product, it is about $110 a gallon, so $12 more per gallon than oil-based paint. Let's talk about the pros first of this product. So the first one, like I mentioned before, this is water-soluble paint. So you can clean up all your brushes by just running them under the sink or the hose. You can also easily just wipe up spills with towel and some water. I personally use this paint on my cabinets with a roller brush for the boxes that were in the wall, and then I used a spray gun for all the rest. I actually did not dilute the paint at all when I put it into the spray gun, and I did not run into any problems with it clogging ever. I use a lot of latex paints, so I feel like it is so much thinner than latex paint and just glides on just really easily. So again, if you're using something to get that really smooth finish like a spray gun, I think this is also just a winning thing that won't clog up your gun or be super difficult to wash out. Another major thing, before you're gonna make an investment like this, you need to know, is the finish worth it? Or do you need to just learn your stuff and go get the oil-based paint? In my experience, this is extremely durable paint. I painted all of our kitchen cabinetry, all of our bathroom cabinetry with this, and well over a year later, it has held up perfectly. There are no smudges. I've definitely cleaned everything, and been in contact with it every single day, not being gentle or anything, just normal use. And it has held up perfectly. If you read any blogs or watch other YouTube videos on people who have used this paint, the consensus seems to be the same, that it's very, very comparable with oil-based paint as far as the durability goes. Let's talk about the smell of this paint. I think this paint is so low on the smell level. It is not even comparable to oil-based paint as far as the fumes go. Again, it's gonna make your home smell like, a little new or a little fresh if you use it, but it is not anything compared to even latex paint or oil-based paint. The fumes are very, very low. As far as the VOCs go for this one, it does still have VOCs, but it is considered a low VOC paint. So it is under 50 per gallon rather than the 380 per gallon that are in oil-based paint. Next, as far as drying time goes, it dries super quickly and there's not a lot of lag time in between reapplying coats, which I find very, very convenient when doing a project, especially when doing it myself. I really want to knock it out. And so this has been an amazing thing for me to use, not having to wait a ton of time in between coats. This is also a self-leveling paint. So when you're applying it with a roller brush or a spray gun, as it's in the drying process, it levels itself to give it that really smooth finish. And to me, it really looks professional. Everything that I've used it on has ended up looking amazing. And so I've been thoroughly impressed with this paint. Let's talk about the cons, because everything has a con. I do think this one is pricey. It is pricey paint, I'm not gonna lie. Way, way, way pricier than a latex paint, and it's pricier per gallon than oil-based paint. So it is definitely an investment to make, but I think that on the back end, for the time that you'll save, for the learning curve that you don't have to have, for the cleanup that is way easier, and for like the extra help that it gives you with the self-leveling and the quick dry time and the low fumes, it's worth it. I really am a big fan of this paint. I know some other paint suppliers have a paint that is comparable. I would look for something that is like a urethane trim paint, and you should find another one that's very comparable to this. But I'm a big fan of the urethane based paint, and I would encourage you, if you're doing a project in the near future, again, for cabinets, for trim, maybe for a piece of furniture that you really want to give some extra love into, I would say definitely go with this. It really turns out great. If you have used Sherwin-Williams urethane paint before, I would love to hear how it turned out for you. Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Just for reference, if you're curious, for my kitchen cabinets, bathroom cabinets, everything else that I've used it for, I have gotten it in semi-gloss for the finish. If you've used something else before and you loved it, let me know. I'm curious. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave it a thumbs up or a comment. Let me know what kind of project that you're taking on around your home. Other than that, guys, until next Tuesday, I hope you have a very great week. Bye.
What a wonderful world. What a wonderful world.